Okay, let's dive into a really fascinating and pretty complex territorial dispute. It sits right at this crucial tri-junction in South Asia.
That unique point where three borders meet, yeah.
Exactly. Today we're doing a deep dive on the Lipulekh-Kalapani-Limpiyadhura region. It's been a long-standing flashpoint between India and Nepal.
And China's involved, too, playing a significant role in the background.
Absolutely. Our mission here is to get you quickly up to speed on the core of this conflict. We're talking like 2 centuries of history.
All the way up to modern strategic moves and diplomatic twists.
Yeah, we want to unpack how the source of a single river can become such a huge deal for national sovereignty. For all 3 countries, really.
It's quite something.
But to really get it, we have to start with the place itself. It's this high-altitude area, right, where India, Nepal, and China's borders converge.
And it's not just some remote spot. Its strategic value is undeniable. Well, the Lipulekh Pass especially. It's a vital gateway. For India, it's a critical military asset, allows surveillance along the line of actual control with China.
Right, for troop movements, too.
Exactly. Rapid mobilization. Plus, it's crucial for trade, and, the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra pilgrimage goes through there.
Okay, it's huge modern significance. But these tensions, where do they actually start? Is there, like, one key historical moment?
There really is. It boils down to the 1816 Treaty of Sugauli. This ended the Anglo-Nepalese War.
Okay.
And it set the Kali River as Nepal's western border with what was then British India. But here's the kicker.
Uh-oh.
No jointly endorsed map came with the treaty. Huge ambiguity. And Nepal still sees it as an unequal treaty, signed under pressure after they lost the war. That created this sort of legal vacuum.
So that ambiguity about the river, that's the core issue 2 centuries later.
Pretty much. The real heart of it is, where does the Kali River actually start? That's what they fundamentally disagree on.
Right. So what's Nepal's argument?
Well, Nepal claims the Kali originates way up at Limpiyadhura. They point to early British East India Company maps from 1816 to 1856.
Okay, early maps.
And historical records, like a letter from the government of India in March 1817, apparently acknowledging villages east of the Kali belonged to Nepal.
Interesting. Any other evidence?
Yeah, they also mention locals participating in Nepal's 1959 elections and paying taxes in 1961. This led them, in 2020, to actually amend their constitution and map to include the area.
Wow. Okay, so what's India's counterclaim then? Where do they say the river starts?
India says the source is further downstream, near a place called Kalapani village.
And their evidence?
Their claim leans on later British surveys from 1865 onwards, formalized around 1879. And crucially, they point to decades of their own uncontested administration and military control there, especially since the 1962 war with China.
Right, that practical control aspect.
Exactly. Plus, they highlight long-standing trade use of the Lipulekh Pass with China, citing agreements back in 1954 as proof of their presence.
So you have these historical ambiguities, different maps, different interpretations. And then things really seemed to boil over recently.
They did. India took some unilateral actions that re-escalated things. Like in 2015, they agreed with China to formalize the Lipulekh trade route.
Which Nepal objected to.
Strongly objected, yeah. But the real turning point, arguably, was 2020.
The road.
Yes. India inaugurated a new road connecting Darchula right up to Lipulekh Pass.
And Nepal's reaction.
Strong diplomatic protests. And then they published that new political map, amended their constitution, basically formally claiming the disputed areas.
And India rejected that.
Called it a unilateral act, not based on historical facts. It really put things on edge.
And China's position in all this, it sounds delicate.
Very delicate. They agreed to the trade route with India despite Nepal's objections. They see the area as important for Tibet's security. But India's actions, well, they risk pushing Nepal closer to China,
Yeah, shifting the regional balance.
Yeah.
So given all this complexity, what's the path forward? Is there any hope for resolution?
Well, there is a precedent. Back in 1981, they formed a Joint Technical Committee, the JTC.
Right, I remember reading about that.
And it actually resolved, believe it or not, 97% of the India-Nepal border issues.
Wow, 97%.
Yeah. Only Kalapani and another spot, Susta, were left unresolved, so it shows it can be done.
What would it take now?
It takes some mutual respect, definitely, political will on both sides to detach the issue from, populist politics. And a fair look at all the historical evidence, international law, leading to a joint process to actually draw the line together, not just unilateral moves.
So the big takeaway for you, our listener, from this deep dive.
Right.
Unpacking this Lipulekh-Kalapani-Limpiyadhura issue really shows how colonial history, like that ambiguous treaty,
And strategic needs and even domestic politics.
and all twist together to create these incredibly persistent international flashpoints. It's a stark reminder that borders aren't just lines on paper, are they?
Not at all. They're tied up with history, power, national identity. Especially when one side feels a sense of historical grievance, like Nepal with the unequal treaty.
Which really leaves us with a big question to ponder. In our world today, how can nations effectively sort out these kinds of inherited colonial disputes, especially when they hit so close to home on issues of national pride and security?